everybody. Tonight I am doing a presentation on the goddess Nephthys. That's her Greco-Egyptian name. Her Egyptian name is Nebet Het. Her name means Lady of the House as well as Mistress of the Heavens. This is the only book that I know on Nephthys. Nephthys, Stories of Egypt's Forgotten Goddess by Shashat. Here we have an oracle card, Nephthys, the High Priestess, Intuition and Mystery, from the Anubis Oracle by Nikki Scully and Linda Starr Wolf, illustrated by Chris Wilder. Now, her animals are the hawk, the vulture, the snake, and the kite. Her colors were red and black. The headdress that you always see on her, for the most part, is the basket. Now, I heard sometimes she wears a vulture, but she's properly with the basket, and that represents house. We're not talking about a physical house. What we're talking about is a temple. And we're also talking about the house of heaven. She has many names and titles. Mistress of the house. Mistress of heaven. Useful goddess. Excellent goddess. She's also called the mourner. She's also known as the nurse of Horus, the mother of Anubis, who's actually, his name is Anpu. Horus was actually the Hor, H-O-R, then later Heru, then Horus. So, the nurse of Horus. She's also called a Lady of the Two Lands. Her other epithets would be she of the bed of life, she who is skilled in magic, Lady of heaven, Lady of the black land, she of the linen wrappings, Lady of the west, Lady of life, Lady of death, Mistress of the gods, as well as she who is skilled in magic and words of power. She, when you look at her in the funerary pictures, you'll see a sarcophagus. The lady at the feet of the sarcophagus would be her sister Aset, and the lady at the head of the sarcophagus is Nephthys. Nebet Het is her. Professional mourners. There were professional mourners that would cry for the dead, that would mourn at the embalming and the funerals. She is the goddess of them. Her colors are red and black, and it's said that she is the liminal goddess, the between times, especially dusk, the twilight. And it says that the red and black land connect together, that when those two lands meet, up when North and South Egypt meets, you can literally put one foot on the black land and 1 foot on the red land. That's her area. 1 foot in the black and 1 foot in the red. She deals with death and dying. She is the mother of Anpu, Anubis. Her siblings, like I said, Horus the Elder, Asar, Osiris, Set, and Aset, Isis. She is said to be the twin of Isis, but the darker half. She's a darker twin. Where if Isis was to represent life, she would represent Nephthys' death. Where Isis is light, Nephthys is dark. Where Isis is conscious, Nephthys would be subconscious. If Isis was the full moon, then Nephthys is the dark moon. And if Isis is that of, say, spring, where everything comes alive, then she would be autumn, or autumn. If Isis is summer, then Nephthys is winter. So her husband brother is Set, whom she doesn't really have the greatest marriage with. And she desired her other brother, Osiris. So I'll get into a little bit of the stories of that. So she is the goddess of decay, darkness, death, protection, the nurse, and the protector of the pharaoh. She is a healing deity. She's a goddess of weaving. She's a goddess of mysteries. She's the goddess of the occult, lady of witchcraft and magic. She is the goddess of our ancestors and those who have crossed over. She is the between areas, the between times. She's a goddess of mourning, not the mourning, but mourning for the dead, crying. She's a goddess of embalming, a funerary goddess. She can also be very wrathful. It is said that when she protects the pharaoh, she can breathe fire onto the pharaoh's enemies. She's the goddess of heaven and of the temple and of sacred rites, the unknown, mysteries. She is lady of things that are sacred. That mean we're talking about ritually sacred. She's a goddess of mummies and mummification. She is Isis's best ally. I'm not talking about Isis, the hate group. We're talking about Aset, the goddess. She is the nurse of Horus, and that's actually one of her names. So she's also the goddess of the hidden, the unknown, mysteries. She is also more of the goddess. She's also a goddess of cursing. She can be used for cursing. She's the goddess of grief. She can cause grief, but she can help those in grief and those who are going to grief therapy. She's a protecting goddess. She's a bewitching goddess. She also does she's a seductress. Not as much like Hathor. She's also a goddess for those who are having trouble conceiving. So those who are having trouble having a child with conception, she can be of use there. And she wanted a child so bad that she seduced Asar, because she loved them, but she had a child, Anubis. And she later abandons him because of the fear of Set. But Isis, Set, comes to the rescue of Anpu and becomes like a surrogate mother. And in turn, later Nephthys, again, helps Horus. So she's a lady of the black land, and black in the black soil was very fertile. But she also deals with one foot in the life and one foot in death. Now, it is said that her hair are actually representation of linen wrappings that they would wrap the mummies in. She helped Isis embalm Osiris. Not only that, she helped them in the resurrection of Osiris. She helped protect Horus. She helped Isis during her grief. When Aset was at her lowest, Nephthys was there. When Aset was being hunted, and her son was being hunted, Nephthys helped them both. She was the good aunt to Horus, and she cared for the child as well. Now, the thing about this, one of the great stories about her, because there's not a lot known about her. A lot has been lost, and I'll say that one of her biggest, where her cult center was Heliopolis, and there were other places where she was worshipped at. And I'm just trying to think where I know there was other places, but Heliopolis was a big one. I should write these things down. But anyway, she bewitches her brother. In some instances, some stories say that she actually kind of roofied Osiris's wine and also dressed like Isis. I just said that she was, tempted Asar, where Asar honestly thought it was his wife because she dressed like Isis. And they lay together. And she conceived Anpu, Anubis, from their union. Now, how did Set find out? Because the gods wore a lot of flowers, and Set found the flower of Osiris. He was not happy. Not happy at all. Oh, not happy. Not only did Asar had the love of his people, and Asar had Isis, and Asar had the throne, and Asar was this big popular, rock star. Now you slept with my wife. What else do you want? Do you want my food? Do you want my home? Do you want my good name? What else do you want? So that really started things up. So when Asar was finally slaughtered by Set, it was Nephthys to help find his body. It was Nephthys to help us Set resurrect him. It was Nephthys that helped, do the funerary process to help Asar go to the underworld and become greater than he was. It was Nephthys that helped her with her son. Nephthys, even though Aset was hurt by what Nephthys has done, she forgave both her husband and her. Very forgiving. And she even helped take care of Anpu. But when the chips were down, Nephthys was there. So their love and bond are very strong. Never put Nephthys down in front of Aset. And don't put Aset down in front of Nephthys. Those two are as thick as thieves. They're like peas and carrots together. I know, Forrest Gump, right? Getting Forrest Gump with you. So, what would you give to such a great goddess? Well, you can give her baskets. and a basket even full of food, tobacco, poppies, sulfur, pearls, which represent, mourning and sorrow too, myrrh, which represents the bitter sea, bitterness, sadness, in that aspect, linen wrappings, wine, especially red wine, beer, bread, milk, cypress, dealing with the dead, because that deals with the dead, star sapphires, rubies. Some people have success giving her smoky quartz. You can give her any type of bread you like. She loves bread. And the Egyptians were really crazy about bread. So, now a lot of things also, cheesecakes. I find out that a lot of these deities like cheesecake. You can also give her star rubies, but definitely star sapphires if you give her a sapphire. Silver. Feathers, definitely feathers. Images of her animals, of snakes, vultures, kites, and hawks. You can give her, what's that stuff? You can give her mead. A lot of the gods seem to like that. Oak, anything with oak leaves, or as well as nettle. Her time, okay, night, twilight, the dark moon. Interesting enough, now, if Isis was to represent, Aset was to represent the seen part of the moon, there's another part of the moon that never shows its face to Earth. Doesn't. The other side, it does not. It revolves around the Earth, but does not like go in a circle. It doesn't spin like this around the Earth. It would just go around like that and show one face. Now the seen face would be, say, Aset. Now the other side is Nephthys. And yes, I know I know like Tahuti's lunar, and Khonsu is the moon god. I know this. But I'm saying the other side of the moon, the unseen side, the dark side of the moon, would be Nephthys. Dark soil is also good for her. You can give her dark soil. Her element is air, as well as the soil. Nurture, not just earth, but it has like dark soil, not just dirt, but soil. And don't think that she's docile. She's not. As far as very approachable, there are other approachable deities. Some people can't really get anything out of her. That she is like the stillness. That sort of, you have to seek her out. And I noticed that like in books, in books, I mean, literally, if they write anything, it may only be a page of her. And there'll be loads and loads of information about other gods. It seems like she's the forgotten goddess. The forgotten sibling. There'll be books on Isis, books on Set, books on Asar. One book on Nephthys. So what are her days? What are her days? It is, her birthday is noted as July 18th. So you can throw a happy birthday party Get her some cheesecake. Or maybe some bread pudding. Why not? Why not throw some little flair into it? Instead of just giving her bread, give her some bread pudding. And I lived in New Orleans for a bit, and we love our bread puddings. Okay, her other feast days are November 29th, October 3rd, and October 10th. I repeat, her birthday is July 18th. Her feast days are November 29th, October 10th, and October 3rd. So, also, she does have a fiery nature about her. So, I mean, appropriate candle color is definitely red and black, but you can also give her white candles. I know some people are scared of black candles. That's fine. So, also, but don't be, black candles not always about death, destruction, blah, you know. There's so many different things. And remember, you can use black as protective. So if you're shy of like, oh, I'm afraid of cursing, that's fine. To each their own. Okay? So, I would say if her tarot card, like this is an oracle card of priestess, and she is like a priestess. She really is. She's the hidden priestess. She's subtle. She's something that she's liminal. She's something that you have to search out. She's the goddess of the shadows. Remember that. She's a shadow goddess. Doesn't mean she's evil. She's not. I mean, I hate this ultimate good, ultimate bad. I mean, she could do bad as well as good. And she's becoming more and more searched for. And it's just really sad that this deity has been so forgotten, so overlooked. But she's coming out now. She's making a comeback. This song, I'm coming out. I want the world to see. I'm not into that song, but that song is coming to my head right now. So she wants the world to know and world to see the beauty of the cult and magic. Planetary aspects of her. Moon. I would definitely use the moon. Now she's in where you would find her. She's more of a recluse. She's reclusive. She's more of like the wilderness, the caves. There's a lonely graveyard at night. Who are her people? Those who work in the funeral industry. Professional mourners that were at one time hired for people who had money can hire professional mourners. And it was a serious job. Medical examiners to find out, which is important. We need coroners, we need medical examiners. Because they bring a story to the dead. Was it suicide? Was it murder? Was it natural causes? What caused it? What disease? So, again, people would take care of the graveyard, who clean up the graveyard. So if you want to do a service to her, if you see a dirty graveyard, clean up the trash. If you see someone defacing a graveyard, or a cemetery, smashing tombstones and stuff, call the police. Because she is the protectress of the dead. So any of that business, or her people. Necromancy. Oh yes, that's a big one. She can help you with that, to connect with the dead. So if you're doing connecting with your ancestors, or you're trying to find out about You know, if spirit's coming to you needing help, she can help. She can help the dead find peace. The dead find rest. She could protect you from the dead too. She could help the dead find their way home. So now people are also saying that they're using her on Samhain, which true Samhain is Scorpio in the 15th degree, so it's usually not October 31st, but October 31st is known as Samhain. And so it could be anywhere. It depends. It really depends on the cross-quarter days. So what day it could be November 5th, could be November 4th. Sometimes it was November 6th. So whenever Scorpio's in the 15th degree. Now, she can avenge the dead. Like if someone killed like grandma or my sister, revenge my sister, you know, who brought brought her to an early grave or something like that. So, she can help you with magic, the occult, and all the spell casting. She can teach you. And I think this is a very beautiful of her. Very good picture likeness of her. It is said that her and her sister look just alike. But remember, she's like, some people even say that Isis and Nephthys complete each other. They complete each other. Or people say that where Isis is the throne of Osiris, because she wears the throne headdress, and she is the house of Osiris. She is the heavenly house. Or as Isis is the throne, she is the temple. So, when we talk about the house, that's like misinterpretation that, she's a goddess of the home. Not so. Unless your home is your temple. So, you know how they say my body is the temple of my soul. We can use it in that aspect. So, she not only helps guide the dead, protect the dead, so prayers offered to the dead would also be an offering to her. To respect your ancestors, respect those who taught you, respect, those who have done good for the world or whatever, whoever you respect. It's her domain. Now, a lot of people may look, she's a crone. No. She's very beautiful. I'm not saying crones are not beautiful. I'm saying a lot of people might think that she looks like the old grayed, withered hag. She's not. Not at all. But remember, she's the deep mysteries. The things that have been forgotten. The forgotten dead. The unnamed dead. She represents, some people like to call her a midnight. Say that's her time, because that's the witching hour. Or 3 a.m. when the spirits are really active. So right around that time, is like her area of influence. Could she be used for hauntings? Yes. She can help clear it. She can help solve the issues. maybe bring peace or to get rid of the dead. Make them move on, whether they want to or not. And if you don't want to move on, well, you can't stay here, honey. With all due respect, bye-bye. So remember, she's a great protectress. She really is. I can't overstress that enough. And I wish there was more things about Nephthys. And I really hope you got some information about her. So her oils are definitely myrrh. Any perfume with civet, cypress oil, again, like the herb too, so you can give her. And also anything resinous, especially like deep dark resin would be great for her. Or patchouli herb you can give her, and patchouli perfume. Definitely patchouli. So I want to thank you for watching this video. I know this has been shorter than my other videos. I really hope you enjoyed it, and there's so much to learn about this goddess. And if you like this video, give me a like and subscribe, and feel free to share this video. Thank you, and blessed be. Hail to the old gods and goddesses. Hail to Nephthys, Nebet Het. Nebet Het. Or she's also called Nebet Het. So Nephthys was a later name given to her. Thank you for watching. Blessed be.